Om Swastiastu. Good evening, Miss. Good evening, my friend. So, today I will give you a presentation about technology and young learner curriculum based on the Routledge Handbook of Teaching English to Young Learner. So, we have six material discussion for this presentation. First, gaming and young learner. Second, mobile learning for young English learner. Third, classroom technology for young learner. Fourth, syllabus development in early English language teaching. Fifth, material for early language learning. And the last is assessment of young English language learning. Gaming and young learner. First, definition of games. Games can be considered a type of play with goals and rules. Games have been used by people in all cultures to acquire various knowledge and skill like cognitive, social, emotional, and physical skill, as well as to have fun. The role of games in learning. As mentioned before, games are a form of play with goals and rules, and psychologists have long paid close attention to the role of play in children's social or emotional, cognitive, and language development. Through play, children develop their sense of self and facilitate communication and meta-communication abilities. When children are at play, they make sense of the external world by engaging in dialogue with themselves or with others. They imagine and perform different roles and experience different language uses. Through play, children engage in social interaction. They observe others, imitate them, and receive a feedback. And recommendation for practice. In fact, digital games have potential for young learners, L2 or VR learning and motivation, but that to maximize their effectiveness, certain consideration must be made. There are some recommendations for practice game as a learning subject. First, game designing. In designing or choosing digital games for young learners, it is important to make best use of game potential while paying close attention to learners' character and needs. Second, game implementation. Game engines and game-based instruction should not replace existing classroom instruction. Digital games appear to be most effective if they use to supplement existing instruction. Second subject is about mobile learning for young learner. First, definition of mobile learning. As the term denotes, M-learning is a compound of two different words but powerful, mobile and learning. The first one, mobile, immediately conjures up image of learning through smartphone, but it also refers to a learning via a video range of mobile technology, such as tablets, PDA or personal digital assistant, audio player, netbooks, laptops, and digital readers. All of them share a series of characteristics that help define what is understood of mobile learning. Mobile learning therefore implies learning everything anywhere at or anytime through mobile device like smartphone or laptop. How to make mobile learning work? According to Lara, some useful recommendations before starting are: first, defining the learning objective to be achieved. Second, being aware of whether the technology available allows the creation of the text. And three, considering the skills needed for both teacher and learner. 4. Thinking about the cost of implementation, the mobile device itself, and the access to some application which may require paying extra fees. 5. Asking how to facilitate the motivation from the users toward the device. 6. How to measure the success of learning. And the last is ensuring that all students have a mobile device that they have to know how to use it and that there is a good connectivity. Tools for mobile learning. First, tools for expressing and creating. There are four main types of application for expressing and creating content, like image and multimedia processing, graphic and diagrams, movement and virtual books. Second, tools for publishing and sharing content. The concept of publishing and spreading must be understood as active process in which students interact with the contents and with the other users. In the sums of sharing information, there are four applications in this section. First, photos, audio, and podcasts. Tools for searching and accessing information. All applications with the ability to express and create and or publish and spread are stored on the internet, and consequently they become tools that allow access to information. Tools for sharing and thinking. The application based on social networks put people in contact according to some kind of common interest. Social network can be of two types. First, vertical or horizontal. The former are created by users, whereas the latter already exist and users are incorporated into them. And some other tools is storage, calendar, social bookmarking, online office, microblogging, virtual learning environment or VLE, wiki, blogs, and etc. The third subject is about classroom technology for young learners. First, classroom interaction and digital interactivity. One influential approach to teaching with technologies involves a four-stage developmental model moving from the authority class, where the teachers control technology interactivity, through the dialectic class, where space is allowed for learners to respond, and the more flexible dialogue class, to a synergic stage where all participants have the power to shape learning event. Design and implementation of teaching and learning tasks. The main tenet of this approach are summarized from Ziegler. The first is the primary focus is on meaning. Learners are focused on the content, including semantic and pragmatic meaning, rather than the form. Second, the task must provide communicative purpose, stimulated by learners' need to impart information, solve a problem, or express an opinion. Third, the task should be learner-centered, requiring learners to draw mainly on their own linguistic and non-linguistic research. Four, tasks are authentic and representative of the real world, drawing on a real world process of language use and integrating form and function. And the last is opportunities for reflective learning are also provided. A recommendation for practice. First, learner centeredness. A main requirement in TBLT is for learners to rely on their own research rather than repeat memorized word expression or dialogues. An important challenge with YALS is thus the balance between adequate linguistic and emotional support on the other hand and the space to create on the others. Second, authentic real-world tasks. Another important TBLT criteria is the real-world relevance of tasks and the opportunity to integrate form and function in authentic contexts. And third is reflective learning. The third TBLT dimension addressed in this section is the provision of opportunity for reflective on learning with respect to both the process and outcome of tasks. Technology such as tablet allows seamless access to recording and playback function, meaning learners can record their spoken language in various activities and then revisit their work by listening to the audio and video recording. The fourth subject is about syllabus development in early English language teaching. First, primary educational practice and syllabus mismatch. It is generally accepted that children acquire language in vastly different ways than older age groups, tending to need less over instruction. Cameron 2001 and Brooke 2006. The language has to be packaged in a way that makes sense to the children, and children need exposure to whole instance of language use and not a series of disjoint bits of language. Topic cross-curricular and content-based syllabus. Brook 2006 argues that any syllabus for primary children needs to be plain in an experimentally appropriate manner and should include the following aspects like topic of interest to children, stories, game, doing and making activities, songs, chants and rhymes, pair work and group work tasks, web-based material, and the last is children literature. Recommendation for practice. First, age-based syllabus and teacher education. There is a particular need to provide ongoing support to EELT practitioner and better enable them to implement alternative syllabus types and thereby teach in more age-appropriate ways. Second, integrating mainstream education approach to counter the influence of limiting and inadequate linear structure syllabus so the practitioner so free from the traditional confines of language teaching by integrating mainstream education approach into syllabus design, thereby aligning classroom content with children age and better reflecting development in how they learn. Third, embedding learn to learn. Learning to learn is based on philosophy of construction and social interactionism. Fourth, curricula and schemes of work. The challenge for adopting such as a novel approach in EELT is to identify engaging, child-friendly points of entry on which to base curriculum plans and schemes of work. One example, which has gained popularity in multiple EELT contexts, is the use of picture book as springboard for course design. And 5. Assessment for learning. To alleviate the effect of flashback in EELT curricula, Rickson 2012 advocates implementation for assessment for learning, whereby lesson objectives are systematically shared with children in accessible language and or the mother tongue. Peer and self-assessment are commonplace. Children are provided with immediate feedback. Fifth subject is materials for early language learning. First, what are good materials for teaching English for young learner and teaching English various young learner? So, good materials should reflect topic relevant, interesting, and meaningful to the learner. Language that is contextual and natural, and focus ought to be on meaning rather than form of language, with skills integrated and concept recycled. The last subject is about assessment of young English language learner. The first is what is assessment? Educational assessments is used to identify level of ability within a target population in a particular learning domain such as English language competence in order to distinguish between strong and weak performance. Master 2014 argues that there is only one purpose of assessment, and it is to find out individual learner current standing in learning domain. Assessment in English as foreign language context. First, the Pearson and Cambridge test. The Pearson and Cambridge test measure general English language competence, both Person and Cambridge tests have explicit exam syllabus specifying what vocabulary and grammatically structured learner fix and needs to have mastered for successful achievement. Second, TOEFL test. In the USA, Educational Testing Service or ETS developed TOEFL Junior in 2011 and TOEFL Primary in 2012 to expand their family of assessment. With no clearly specified exam syllabus, TOEFL primarily provides information about the English proficiency of young English learners in countries where English is not typically used in the daily life. And third is Trinity Star and Anglia First Step. Existing international tests for under 6-year-old are Trinity Star and Anglia First Step. In this assessment, children oral skills are assessed face-to-face and using traditional paper and pencil tests for listening, reading, and writing. So, what is a good assessment for young learners? Good assessments measure, critically explore, and clearly define construct. The Hertie 2012 test developer for young learners must justify what is knowledge, skills, and abilities are assessed and clearly states the intent purpose of test use. Test score interpretation should be made very clear and very clean so the test user can make the right inference from the result. The impact of assessment. Impact of an assessment on learners can be gauged by investigating fitness for purpose. Example, how well it motivates learner to learn English and or how well it prepares them for the next level of study. Motivation is a central critical issue in the reporting of results in young learner assessment. As children and adolescents tend to suffer from the test anxiety and may get demotivated by assessment result. Assessment literacy. Teachers play a crucial role as decision makers, user of result, and developer of various types of assessment. This makes assessment literacy one of the most important aspects of teachers' training and professional development. Increasing assessment literacy among teachers of primary and lower secondary schools learners is a competency of building exercise. Coherent educational framework. The challenge for policymakers and assessment providers is to create a coherent assessment framework with achievable target and appropriate reporting of each transition point between preschool and primary, between primary and junior secondary, and between junior and senior secondary education. There should be tight coherence in a curriculum, assessment, and teacher professional development. Thanks for your attention for this presentation and question. Okay, I will close this presentation with Paramasanti. Om Santi 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 Om.